All right, y'all, we're back at it with 7.9. Okay, two things that the book presents at the very onset of the chapter, or of the lesson of 7.9. First, the commutative property. If you think about the word commutative, you've probably heard maybe the word commute before, right? Typically, we think of a commute as traveling to work, but commute just means to move. And if you look, when you see 4 plus 5 equals 5 plus 4, we've just moved the two addends, or the two numbers that we're adding. So 4 plus 5 equals 5 plus 4. Those two can be moved around and they're still going to be the same, right? That wouldn't be the case if this were a division problem. But in math, the commutative property states that we can have 4 plus 5, we can move it around to 5 plus 4, and we're still going to get the same answer, 9, right? All right, second one, the associative property, which if you think of associative or association or to associate, it means to group together, right? The associative property states that basically in addition problems, when you have more than two addends or more than two numbers that you're adding, you can put them into different groups and you'll still get the same answer. For example, 5 plus 8, and the parentheses are just there to indicate which two you do first. So 5 plus 8, which is going to be 13, plus 4 equals 17. Over here, well, let's do the parentheses first. 8 plus 4 equals 12, plus 5 equals 17. So essentially the associative property says that when you're adding numbers, you can put them in different groups and you'll still get the same answer. That's helpful in this chapter because we're going to add together three mixed numbers. But when we add the three mixed numbers together, you're looking at this and saying, oh, this looks complicated. It's not. It's actually really easy. It might be the easiest lesson in the chapter. Often you'll use the associative property. And what the associative property allows you to do is take the two numbers that are easy to add together. Earlier in the year, we talked about, compatible numbers. With the associative property, we can take the two more compatible numbers and add them together first. If you're looking at 70 and 5/10 plus 43 and 6/10 plus 34 and 5/10, when you look at that, it might appear hard, but if you use the associative property and you add 70 and 5/10 and 34 and 5/10 first, that is really easy, right? 70 plus 34 is 104, right? And 5/10 plus 5/10 is just 1, so it's going to be 105, right? You can do it mentally, but I use the parentheses to demonstrate the associative property. We're going to take 70 and 5/10 and 34 and 5/10, and we're going to put them right here. We're going to, in those parentheses, we're going to do those two first because those two numbers are really compatible. And by grouping them or associating them, we make this problem really easy. That just turned into 105. And now adding 105 to 43 and 6/10, fairly easy as well. 148 and 6/10, right? The associative property just tells you, you can put the numbers in different groups. So group the easy ones. All right, let's look at this one. 1 and 1/3 plus 2 plus 3 and 2/3. Now immediately you should recognize, 1/3 and 2/3 together, those are going to be one whole. So let's add those two numbers together first using the associative property, and it'll really simplify our problem. So let's take 1 and 1/3 plus 3 and 2/3, and that's 5, right? 1 and 1/3 plus 3 and 2/3 is 5. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 1. So right there we get 4. So all of a sudden, right there we get 5. 1 plus 3 is 4, and 1/3 plus 2/3 is another 1. So total right there, 5. 5 plus 2 equals 7. Pretty easy, right? Don't make it complicated. Associative property is just like take the compatible numbers and add those ones together first. So look right here. 3 and 4/10 plus 5 and 2/10 plus 6/10. Okay, immediately you should recognize that 4/10 and 6/10 together are going to equal 1. So instead of going 4/10 plus 2/10 plus 6/10, no, 4/10 and 6/10. Let's get those ones together. Let's use the associative property and get those two guys together. Okay, and let's see here. Oh, the book shows you doing it two ways. This first example right here, that's a commutative property where you can just reverse the order. And that helps us a little bit, but it doesn't help us as much as the associative property, which we pop down, like I said before, getting 4/10 and 6/10, getting those two right by each other, because those are going to be 1. So 3 and 4/10 plus 6/10, that's pretty easy, right? That just turns into 4. Okay, those numbers are compatible. They're easy to work with. 4, so now 4 plus 5 and 2/10 is 9 and 2/10, right? Fairly easy. By using the associative property, getting the compatible numbers together, we made that problem pretty easy. Let's do it one more time. Let's look at this one. This one is 2 and 7/8 plus 3 and 2/8 and 1 and 1/8. And don't be confused by the parentheses. The parentheses just tell you which 2 to do first. But because it's addition, you can still reverse the orders. You can still change the order any way you want. Okay, that's just the way they present it in the beginning. So what I'm looking at here is 2 and 7/8 plus 3 and 2/8 plus 1/8. Okay, using the associative property, I want to get that 7/8 and that 1/8 together, because I know that when I add those two, I'm going to get a whole. I'm going to get an extra whole. I'm going to get 8 over 8. So let's use the associative property and get those two together. 2 and 7/8 plus 1 and 1/8. That's going to be 4, right? Pretty easy. 2 plus 1 is 3. 7/8 plus 1/8 is another 1 whole. And gets us up to 4, right? 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, so now 4 plus 3 and 2/8 is 7 and 2/8. One last one. 1 and 2/5 plus 1 plus 3/5. You should be thinking associative property. I want to get 1 and 2/5 and 3/5 right by each other, because 2/5 plus 3/5 is 5/5, or 1 whole. So those two numbers are going to make this problem really easy, getting them next to each other. Let's get 1 and 2/5 plus 3/5, and that's going to equal 2, right? 2 plus 1 equals 3. So don't be confused by all the parentheses and big words like associative and commutative. The gist of this lesson is that when you're adding 3 numbers together, 3 mixed numbers together, you can put them in any order. So put the 2 that are compatible, the 2 that add together easily, put those side by side. And you can put parentheses around them just to remind yourself that you do those ones first. Get those ones side by side, and all of a sudden the addition becomes really easy. And then you can add that last number on after you've worked the 2 compatible numbers. Okay, so all you have to do here is mainly use the associative property to get the easy numbers side by side so that they add quickly. And really, you can do it mentally, although I'd still like to see your work. The pages, I do not recall. I don't have my book in front of me, but they will be in the notes. Do your best, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, take care, guys.